Hello everyone, it's Sewn by Claire here, and today we are going to cut out our squares in readiness for making our skill builder samples. So what I've done now is I have got a piece of curtain lining fabric here. It's a little bit creased. I'm going to just give it a quick press so that I can work with it. And I've also identified where my selvage edge is. And so if you're not sure about your selvage edge, just go online and have a look at one of my other videos in the Skill Builder series, and there is one on the selvage edge. And what I want you to do is identify your selvage edge, iron your fabric, and then we'll come back and I'll show you how I cut out the squares for that. Okay, so I've just ironed my fabric and I've identified my bound edge, which is this one here. And so I know that if I now follow those fibres straight across and down the fabric here and put my other edge against it, I know that I'm going to be on straight of grain. The other way that you can check it as well is just by holding your fabric up, and if you've got like a bit of a crease down the end here, you see how that's not lying straight? What you have to do is just move the sides of the fabric across until when you actually hold it together and get it to lie straight, it should, at the bottom there, just lie nice and flat for you. So just to correct that again, what I've done is I have taken it from there how it was twisted, can you see? And even if I smooth this down at the top, those threads are still going to be twisted. So I've just moved put my finger in between the two pieces of fabric and holding them against myself, a bit like when you're folding sheets really, isn't it, if we've done the laundry. And then we're just trying to get that so that it's just going to lie flat for me and lie straight. So that's about there for me, okay. And then when I lay it down on my work surface and smooth it out, the edges stay together beautifully and that's nice and flat. You can see that I've taken some bits out of this fabric before, and that's why it's really useful that I've still got my selvage edge that I could then match the rest up to. So what I'm going to do now is get my quilting ruler and my rotary cutter. And you could always use just an ordinary ruler that you've got for marking straight lines if you wanted to, but I'm just going to line up the lines on my quilting ruler, and I'm going to take this off nice and straight so that I know that I'm on straight of grain, because for our squares we want to make sure that we're on straight of grain for them. So I'm just going to cut out squares 6.5 inches by 6.5 inches to match this, and then I'll cut them down the middle, and then when I put them together that'll give me a nice, and this length is perfect really, just to give you enough of a sample of what you're doing, and then it just makes them all nice and uniform as well, doesn't it? So I've got the 6.5 here, that's the same width as this one here. So I'm going to turn my fabric round now so that I can work with it properly. Because what we're going to do is we're going to cut off the squares first so that we can then work with this fabric and make our samples. So we're going to turn our fabric round, line it up with our cutting mat. And if you're using a rotary cutter, then you need to have a self-healing mat, but if you're just using a ruler you can just draw a straight line down and then just use your scissors to cut. So don't think I'm trying to get you to buy lots of expensive equipment, because you don't necessarily need it. It's just because I quilt as well, then it's nice and easy for me. So I'm just going to put this across here. So if you've got an ordinary ruler, just mark 6.5 across on your width, and then just draw a line down here with your pen, and then you can snip it with your scissors. But for me, I am going to do like this. That's the first one cut, moved away. Always cover your rotary blade when you're not using it, because they are razor blades, they will cut you. So I'll just do those two for now. So now what I'm going to do is match the edges up again. So find my selvage edges which are there. Lay these on top of each other, line them up, and then I'm just going to cut these again at 6.5. going to give me some lovely straight squares now to work with, because if these are distorted before we even start, then that's going to affect how we work. Oh, one thread left there. So, and this will give us enough for some samples to work with. So now we've got our squares, individual squares, what I'm going to do now is cut these in half again. So these are going to be at 3.25, so there's 3.25 inches. But basically I'm just cutting them in half. And then we've got our two pieces ready to start and work with. So if you want to find your scrap fabric, it doesn't matter what it is, as long as you can see it, then what we're going to do then is we are going to work with these pieces here, and we're going to build up our samples like we've got here. So if you get yourself to that stage, and then we will then move on. Thank you for watching today's video, and I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you're all ready for building up your Skill Builder samples. Happy stitching everybody, and have a great day.